Hello, everybody.
(00108). This is the people of the city of Troy versus Jose Granado Aboite.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. May I please report Zena Isaka here on behalf and with Mr. Granado, who's approaching. State your name for the record, sir.
Mr. Luis Granado Aboite.
So are you still using the same address that I have for you on Clark Street in Detroit?
Yes, Your Honor.
Today is the date and time that has been scheduled for a violation of probation pretrial. I believe your client was just here a couple of weeks ago on the 11th for the arraignment, so he's already been advised of the violation allegations, and he had requested a pretrial date. So how is he going to proceed today?
And we went over his rights yesterday, or the day before, actually, via telephone. He understands that he has a right to a contested hearing. He is waiving that right and is prepared to plead guilty.
All right. So you understand, or hopefully you recall, but if not, we'll discuss it again on the record. You've got these two technical violations that are before the court. In a situation where you're on probation for the offense of no valid license in possession, the maximum penalty could be up to 90 days in the Oakland County Jail for a sanction. With two technical violations, though, the amount of jail time would be capped to 10 days. That's the maximum jail that could be imposed if you're found guilty or you plead guilty to the violations. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you also understand that if you wanted to challenge either one of these allegations, you'd have the right to have a hearing? Mr. Motze from the prosecutor's office would appear at a hearing and be required to present evidence to establish that you violated probation in these ways, and they have to meet a preponderance of the evidence standard at the hearing. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it your decision today, after discussing this case with your attorney, to waive your right to have a hearing and instead plead guilty to the violations?
You said which violations were there? The clear the warrants and the license? I have a license. Well, I just need to take my road test. I have a permit for this.
Okay, so this is based on the status of probation at the time the violation was issued by the PO. So you can provide me some updates if your circumstances have changed since the violation was issued. But this violation was issued, well, it's been a little bit of time here since you already had your arraignment on the violation. This violation was issued on 8/26 of 2024, so August 26th. At that time, it was alleged that you still had outstanding bench warrants and that you had failed to clear your suspensions and get a driver's license.
No.
So it's based on that time frame. Anything you want me to consider that happened after that, you can provide as an explanation. Do you understand the allegations?
Yes.
And is it true at this time that you're going to waive your right to a hearing because you intend to plead guilty?
Yes.
So at the time the violation was issued, is it true that you had failed to clear all your bench warrants?
Yes.
And is it true that at that time you had not cleared all of your outstanding tickets and obtained a driver's license?
Yes.
All right, so the court will accept your pleas and we can move forward with sentencing. There was an update to the report that's been prepared by Ms. Munoz. It indicates that she can see that as of 9/12, you had obtained a license, which I believe you're telling me is a permit. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I know that that was part of the discussion on why you wanted to set this for a pretrial at the time you're here for the arraignment. But it does still indicate that you've got outstanding bench warrants in the courts that are listed on the summary report. So what, if anything, would you like the court to consider for sentencing?
Oh, it's because I feel like I have enough time because I work out of state, because since I wasn't allowed to drive for the most part, well, at all, I had to get a job like that. So like right before I had got my permit, I had paid like over $3,000 to the city of Detroit to get that. So I just didn't have like enough money or time to get these other ones handled. And then...
Okay, I see. So I know that we had you on for a year. And the reason that the violations actually came up at the time that they did was because you were supposed to be discharged, but there were still some things outstanding, so they had to issue a violation. It does indicate that you still had a civil infraction that you owed money on in this court. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I could take care of that today.
All right. And Ms. Ishak, is there anything else that you'd like the court to consider?
Yes, Your Honor. Respectfully, he stands before you this afternoon. He's 27 years old. He is doing the best he can, Judge. He works 40 hours or more. He's paid off those warrants at the 36th District Court, as he indicated. That's many thousands. He has passed his written test. and he needs to schedule his driver's test. So, you know, he'll be driving on the road legally. With that being said, after looking at this report and speaking with him today, my client can pay the $175. He does understand that there are 4 pending bench warrants. He also understands that the court can hold him for a warrant check. But he's, at the same time, Judge, he's asking that you extend probation and allow him to complete, take care of these warrants, come back with a bail license after taking the road test. He wants to be discharged successfully.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes, sir.
Anything from the people?
That's actually.
All right, well, I'll extend you out for 4 months because really it's an extension from your discharge date. And you've already got a month past your discharge date, just getting to today's date. So an extension of 4 months really gives you about 3 months to complete these requirements, which is just to clear the warrants. You've got to maintain your license. Now, the big concern is in wanting you to clear the warrants is that you've worked really hard to get the license, but you still have outstanding issues that could impact your license when you clear them. So that's why it's so important to take care of the warrants, because some of these cases could result, depending on how they end, in a sanction against your driving privileges again. So that's why we are encouraging you to take care of all of these before you get your license reinstated. But at this point, you've got the permit. You need to schedule the road test. A couple of these are just civil infractions, which I would never even hold you for a warrant check on them. But the others, you'll have another 90 days really from today's date to get them taken care of and complete the road test so that you can be done with probation and discharged with improvement. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So you still have to be supervised to the extent you'll have to check in with the PO. I'm not going to require that you pay oversight fees because I would prefer that you use them to pay the $175 that you still owe and take care of these other matters. But you have to appear if they ask you for an appointment, you've got to show up and let them know what's going on. And I don't want to see any indication that you're driving until your license is fully reinstated. So you can only drive within the restrictions that you have, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, do you have any questions? Head out to the front counter.
So the judge.
All rise.
Good morning, Ms. Conlon, are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, this is People versus Eric Perryman, and that is file 2271 of 2024. Good morning, Mr. Perryman. Who you got with you? Okay, hi. Ms.
He's Mr. Mom.
Yep. Ms. Conlon is here on behalf of Mr. Perryman, and this is the date for sentencing on the defendant's conviction of disorderly jostling. Ms. Conlon, if you had an opportunity to review the pre-sentence report with your client, is it accurate and complete?
Yes, Your Honor, we have reviewed it. I believe it is accurate and complete. Thank you.
All right, then what else would you like me to know?
Well, Your Honor, I've talked to Mr. Perryman, obviously, about this incident several times, and he has consistently expressed to me that he's very remorseful for what happened. He saw, he thought his wife was being shoved, or she was being shoved, and he reacted in a bad manner. And he admits that. He does have priors, however, his most recent conviction was 10 years ago. He's basically just been being a dad. He's not working right now. His wife's working and supporting the family, so he's taking care of their kids. And I think that he's not going to be doing anything like this again. I think he did learn something from it. He's got to react differently in high stress situations like this. So I think Ms. Helmrich's made some good recommendations for his terms of probation. I think he'll do well on probation and not have any further problems. So I would ask, Your Honor, that you adopt the recommendations, but maybe consider lowering the court costs a little bit since he's not working right now.
Okay, Mr. Perryman, anything you'd like to add?
Yes, I do feel remorseful. I do apologize for what happened to him. I wish I could have personally went to him, apologized to him myself, but due to circumstances I can't. But would like to apologize to him in front of you guys, let you know that I'm remorse about what happened. I wish never, wish it never took place.
Okay. I do see Ms. Traska is on the line from our probation office. Oh, there's Ms. Helmrich. Ms. Helmrich, I did have one question for you about the pre-sentence report. Under the defendant's statement, the last sentence, it says the defendant was advised he was arrested for DV but not formally charged. You're talking about in this incident on May 15th. There's not a separate investigation out there for DV.
If I
I can answer
recall,
that,
I
Ryan.
thought that there was some sort of, I thought he did tell me that there was some sort of other arrest that happened afterwards, but didn't turn into anything.
Oh, that was,
Okay.
I had broke my restraining violation.
Okay, hang on. I want,
Let's
Ms.
not all-
Conlon seems to know a little bit more about
Yeah, I
this.
did discuss that, I believe with Mr. Wild, Your Honor. There had been a DV complaint involving Mr. Perryman and his wife. However, that was investigated and the prosecutor's office did not find probable cause to charge him. So nothing came of that.
When was that?
When did that happen, Eric?
What's the first that happened on? What, the charge, the message was supposed to happen, that's on,
About a
Yeah, it
month
was a
ago?
while, it was a while ago, Your Honor, I'm not remembering exactly. I think it was, this incident happened on May 15th, and I wanna say it was after that. But again, it's my understanding from talking to Mr. Wiles that it was investigated and they chose not to charge him.
Okay. And it didn't have anything to do with the plea in this case?
No, it didn't.
Okay,
That was not part of the plea offer.
all right. So this is sentencing on the defendant's conviction of disorderly person jostling. He was originally charged as an assault and battery. And I honestly am not completely sure about how this all happened. I'm not sure the defendant is either, but it happened outside the Goodwill Inn. Kevin Merkel, the victim, says that he tried to intervene in a fight between a woman named Brandy and Eric Perryman. And there were several other people involved, but the bottom line is the defendant admitted to striking Mr. Merkel in the face. And Mr. Merkel did have blood on his face. He was missing a front tooth. And there's video footage that showed the defendant striking Mr. Merkel in the face. And then Mr. Merkel was also pushed over a landscape retaining wall by another party. It's not clear whether the bloody face and the missing tooth were a result of the punch or of going over the retaining wall. There were other assaults that were also observed on the video. The defendant, according to Ms. Helmrich, did appear to be remorseful for his actions. He said he initially intervened to try to quell the situation, I guess. Says he even tried to apologize to Mr. Merkel while the police were investigating, but police thought that was probably a bad idea at the time. Defendant apparently was investigated for DV, but there was no charge sometime after this occurred. The defendant does have a history for assaultive conduct. There's a domestic violence in 2012, and there was a probation for 6 months. Says he did 93 days in jail. So it sounds like it wasn't a successful probation. There's also an assault charge dismissed in Grand Traverse County in 2022. And the rest of the record has to do with theft offenses. And the defendant has done significant time in jail as a result of that. As far as I know, there hasn't been any violation of the no contact order or other bond violations. The defendant does seem remorseful here today. And again, it's not entirely clear what was going on here, whether the defendant, well, I'm assuming the reason for the plea offer was because it wasn't clear whether the defendant felt maybe he was defending one or more persons involved in the incident. What's bad here is that this is the Goodwill Inn. People go there to seek shelter and safety, and they don't want to be involved in assaultive conduct or other bad behaviors. It shouldn't be like that. And you give the place a black eye when you engage in this kind of behavior. So that's very unfortunate. The defendant was arrested. He served 2 days in jail. So the recommendation is for a 1-year probation, and I think we'll go along with that. The defendant does have 4 children. He's not working. He's taking care of, well, he's working, taking care of 4 kids, while his wife is providing financially. So for those reasons, I am going to waive the fines, costs, and the attorney fee. It'll be $75 Crime Victims' Rights Fund fee, $50 judicial system fee. There's been no request for restitution. And the purpose of the probation is to provide some anger management counseling and some community service work, and otherwise try to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again. So to that end, the defendant's not to be in possession of any firearms or weapons, not to behave in a violent, threatening, intimidating, or harassing manner toward anyone, be respectful of court employees and care providers, attend anger management counseling by a counselor approved by your probation agent, a minimum of 6 sessions. You're also to complete 3 days of community service work. Otherwise, the sentence will be 6 days in jail for violation of that condition. You're not to have any contact directly or indirectly with Brandy Marks or Kevin Merkel, or go within 500 yards of their workplace or residence. Jail is credit for the 2 days you've already served, and other than that, you need to notify your probation agent if you do have any contacts with law enforcement. And I need you to reach out to the probation department. Ms. Helmerich is going to go over the conditions of the probation with you, answer any questions that you have. And Ms. Conlon will give you the phone number to call today between 1 and 3:30, okay? All right, is there anything else for you, Ms. Conlon?
No, thank you.
Did I miss anything, Ms. Helmerich, or any other conditions you think would be appropriate?
No, Your Honor, sounds good.
All right, thank you, and we're all set. Good luck to you, sir. 1 year, yeah.
Be safe, be well, sleep sweet, and much love.